I always like to say. So here's some examples. Let's say you're a great basketball player, okay? A lot of us play basketball. A lot of us, we just love playing basketball. It's P-A-N-K-I-S, so, okay. But you're like, not just a basketball player. You are a good basketball. You are huge. Oh. You just take the ball and it's like the defense isn't even there. They're just gone. You're at the hoop in a second, right? So you have a game, you score like, I don't know, 50 points maybe. And it's just awesome. Everyone's like, wow, couldn't miss the three there, man. Great job. It's like, yeah, I've worked hard. I did it awesome. Yeah, I'm more important, right? That adds to my importance, right? It makes me more valuable. But what I like to ask is, does that really matter? Put it in the big picture. Also, let's say you're the smartest person in your class. So let's go to academics now. You Hume, right? So, you don't even have to study and get good grades. But you apply yourself, you're very diligent, and you even study anyway to get the extra good grade, right? So, people are slaving for B's, and you're just like, well, I can get an A, but I want an A+. And so, you will go to college, you're going to the top-notch college, you have scholarships, it's going to be free. You're going to change the world. You're going to do something great. You are more important. You're very valuable. But does this really matter even? Being very smart. Say you play music better than anyone in school. You hear songs and you just whip it out on every instrument around. Or you take music, sheet music, and just play it like you've played it for years. Maybe you can even sing like Bon Jovi. I don't know. You're super talented, right? In music. And everyone looks at you, so of course you're more valuable, you're more important. But is that true, and does that really matter? So these things are good, but you need to realize they're also gifts. You are born with unique talents, and we are born with unique talents. And if we take our gift and focus on it so much, we gotta realize where they come from. But let's say you have a gift, and not only do you have that gift, you've spent time, you've slaved over it, you've really dedicated your life to this gift, so that's why you're really good at it. And so, does that make it wrong to have that glory that you've earned? It's a good question. I'd like to answer that a little later. But I just really want to focus on how we need to not take our gifts and then glorify ourselves with it. So Paul really understood this. In Philippians 3:3-9, he said 3:4-8, he brings out this point. He's like, I was born. Okay, so if anyone thinks he has reason for confidence in the flesh, I have more. I'm circumcised on the 8th day. That's like, in their culture, that was very top-notch. Of the people of Israel, the tribe of Benjamin, a Hebrew of Hebrews, as to the law of Pharisee, and he goes on, I just quit there. So basically he lists out things why people should look at him. He's done all these things, he has these things, his status is higher than other people. But whatever gain I had, I counted as loss for the sake of Christ. Indeed, I count everything as loss because of the surpassing worth of knowing Christ Jesus my Lord. So I'd like to think about those questions again. You are talented. You have spent time on it. But does that give you an excuse to turn it and turn all the attention on you? Does it surpass the worth of knowing Christ Jesus your Lord? And that question should be answered personally. So then, we know that we're not supposed to focus on our own talents and point to ourselves. We're not supposed to glorify us. But what are we supposed to do? We're supposed to glorify God. But what does glorifying God look like? Okay, I've heard a lot of definitions of the glory of God, just to clarify it. And the one I've really liked is it's God's invisible character made visible. It's showing the world who God is. When you glorify God, you're reflecting Him. When people see you, they see the character of God. It's God's invisible character that they can't see, but it's made visible through you. And so glorifying God is mirroring His character. Okay, so when we think of glory, what do we think of? Just tell me. Hear the word glory. What do you think of?
Praise.
Praise. Physical things. What does it look like?
Huge.
Huge.
Trophies.
Trophies.
Medals.
Medals. Right?
Recognition.
Do you think of light and brightness? The glory of God? Yeah, this picture of bright light. Well, I thought it was interesting because in John 8:12, Jesus says, "I am the light of the world. Whoever follows me will not walk in darkness, but will have the light of life." And I think that's really cool because what Jesus did is He came down on earth and He's the light of the world. He showed the glory of God. He showed who God was. His name Emmanuel means God with us. So I like that correlation of when we think of glory, we think of light, and Jesus is the light of the world. Also look at Ephesians 5, 1-2. Yeah. So Ephesians 5 starts out, "Therefore be imitators of God." This is what glorifying God looks like. Imitators of God as beloved children. Walk in love as Christ loved us and gave Himself up for us, a fragrant offering and a sacrifice to God. For at one time you were dark. This is verse 8. "For at one time you were darkness, but now you are light in the Lord. Walk as children of light." So Jesus is the light of the world. He showed the glory of God. And what are we supposed to do? We're supposed to be imitators of God. We're also to show this light. Okay, I'd like to see how this works. I thought about this picture of light and stuff. Can I have the lights turned off?
Yeah.
All of them? Okay, so we'll try this. Okay. So I was thinking about this.
I can do this. Hold on a second.
Okay, so this is our world, okay? Jesus came into the world. He's the light of the world. And this is just a simple picture of what he's talking about. A lot of verses when they talk about people who live in darkness, they talk about stumbling. Because in the dark, you don't see what's going on. You don't understand your life. Things cause you to stumble. You trip, fall. But when you have Jesus, it says that He makes things clear. You can see, I don't know, things that could trip you up. And you have a guide even. This light is a guide. So, Jesus is the light of the world, right? We have this light. I have it in my hand. Okay? And it's guiding me. Well, let's say I take His gifts, I take the things He's blessed me with, but I point to myself. Okay, let's see if this works. So what that's doing is basically putting my shadow in front of the light. See my huge shadow? Okay? And so what does that do? First of all, it blocks the light, but I'm back to stumbling again. And people who look at me, they don't see the light, they see my shadow. And this is not what God calls us to be. So what are we supposed to do? We're supposed to be mirrors. And I wanted to try this just because it's awesome. And I borrowed Mandy's mirror. Thanks, Mandy. Anyway, so we're supposed to be mirrors for light. So we have the light, right? Jesus came, He showed the world. But then He's in us, and the light spreads. See? It's over there now. And now it's over there. And over there. So not only are we reflecting Christ, we're spreading the light. The light spreads from each person. And now imagine if each one of you who this light falls upon becomes a mirror. The light will be like ding, 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 ding until the whole room's shining, right? So I think that's just a really cool picture of what we're supposed to be doing. And we can be mirrors, but we can miss the light. And what good does that do? You know? So yeah, you can turn the light on.